Hi, here we are today at Newton Rig, and this morning we're going to be looking at specialised pruning that we've done with all our RHS Level 3 students in the late summer and autumn going into early winter of last year. And what we're doing now is we're coming back to look at these and we're going to evaluate them. So here we are next to our 35 different varieties of cordon apples. And these have been grafted by the North Cumbria Orchard Group, planted by our RHS students, Level 2 students, and this is their 4th year that we're going into here, and they've been maintained and pruned by our Level 3 students. And I think you can see this year, looking back, we've got amazing flowering, a real glut of flowers this year on the cordons. They were pruned in the late summer and they were pruned back to 2 buds to encourage all these lovely flowering and subsequent fruiting buds coming as well. So you're not here with me, but they smell amazing. They smell like roses. So we've got good flowering all down, and this one's particularly good. This one is Sparta. It's got nice, evenly spaced flowering and fruiting spurs all the way along the length of it. And they've been tied in as well last year, so they're tied in. The one thing that we might look at here is there's a label on here with the name on, and it's just getting slightly tight, that, so we might think about loosening that. So that might be a thing that we want to do, because remember, even labels and tying in can cause damage, so you need to keep an eye on those. You can see that they were mulched along here, and so we've got a nice thick mulch of well-rotted manure on here, and what it's done is it's kept down the annual weeds absolutely brilliantly. There's hardly any weed damage on here or hardly any weed coverage on here at all. They haven't actually been fed, but if you did want to feed, you could feed with a nice general purpose fertiliser, but we don't actually feed these here. We just mulch them, and because it's an organic mulch, there's some feed going down into the soil. This one here is particularly nice as well, and this one is Ida Red. Lovely, well spaced out fruiting spurs, been really nicely pruned. In fact, they all look really good this year. They all look really healthy. There's no signs of any pest or disease on them. And if we come along here, right to the very end, and we have a look here, our tickled pink, this one is entirely different coloured foliage and beautiful coloured flowers as well. So we're going to have some lovely apples. Tickled pink has an apple on it which actually has red flesh on it as well. So I think you'll agree they all look particularly healthy. No signs of pest or disease. 1 or 2 weeds which need cleaned out, but other than that, looking really good. So we're just going to go down now. We're going to have a look at our black currants. That's Lynn crashing about in the background there. We're going to have a look past our wildlife area, looking particularly nice. Apple trees flowering. Lynn on the left here with her wheelbarrow. So we're past the wildlife pond and the wildlife area, which looks absolutely beautiful. And we're going to go in and look at our black currants. So these were planted a year gone, the last winter. We planted them, cut them down to 2 inches, and this is the subsequent growth from there. Now what we did this year was we went in and pruned them. So we're doing formative pruning out the centre, so we've got this lovely typical goblet shape here, which is absolutely perfect. So we've got all our lovely fruiting branches going out here and a lovely open centre, and by doing that you get really good airflow as well. So we've got 2 types of blackcurrant here. So we planted in this bed here, we planted Ben Alder, and in this bed here we planted Ben Tiran, and we chose varieties which flower a bit later so that they didn't get frosted in the north. And you can see they're actually setting currants there. Now what is quite interesting with the Ben Alder is we've got these lovely very healthy looking bushes, and then we've got 1 or 2 here which don't look just quite as good. Lots of flowers on them, but very little growth and sparse foliage. So whether there's something going on underneath the soil here, Just not sure about what the difference is, but there's definitely some difference here. Now we did mulch these at the back end of last year, and also last year they were fed as well. They haven't been fed actually yet this year, and we just put chicken manure, nice all round balanced fertiliser on them. But they're looking really healthy, no signs of pest or disease at all. Perhaps a little bit more mulch required because we've got some weeds coming in, but altogether looking pretty good, and this is their second year, and I'm hopeful for black currants this year. Okay, right, moving on round the organic garden where Lynn is working. It's working, past Lynn. Past Lynn, past the lovely poached egg and Nancy's. Out the gate and down the garden, past all the trees. Past the lovely, you have to look at those, Sheila, past the lovely cowslips, the primula veris on the way past, and the fantastic camassias, and also the narcissi looking absolutely fantastic there. And the centre and the narcissi is beautiful, looking really lovely. The purple hazel, contorted hazel. Okay, so we're here at our pleached walkway. We pruned this in hornbeam, it is, yes, Carpinus betulus. We pruned this in November. We were actually really lucky to get it done quite early, and so we did this with our level 3 students working at height and working off ladders, and it was all pruned back to within 2 buds, and you can see here that it was all cut back to within this framework, and taking it back to 2 buds, and we've got lots of lovely new growth coming there. So looks very healthy, nice green foliage, not showing any signs of pest or disease, nicely pruned. And now if you've got any gaps as well during the summer, you can tie in some of these new growths to fill your gaps, but actually looks really good. Coming down here, these 2 sides look particularly good. This one here has been slightly more troublesome, and I do know that this was a very wet area when these were planted, and we've actually had a couple of deaths here. So we actually have a dead tree in here, which is here, or very nearly dead, which is going to become a big problem when we have to come to replace it or something. So you can see here decay into there, and some sort of burrowing beetle coming in there as well. And as you come round along this line, we've also got another one here, which has had decay in here as well, and that's also rot in there, and it allows disease to get in as well. So they are going to be a problem. They are going to be a problem in subsequent years as to how to replace them or what to do about them. So we don't actually feed these, but you could put a balanced fertiliser on, which would be probably a really good idea given the fact that we've got the box hedge underneath as well. So we don't mulch because the box hedge keeps the weeds down, but we could put a fertiliser under there, scattered, or we could actually give it a liquid feed, which would be taken up by the box and by the hornbeam as well. Other than that, they look pretty good, and this is us taking this in May the 5th we're on now, so they're coming into leaf nicely, so I think it's going to look fantastic later on this year. Okay. What have I not said?